All right, this isn't just another business interview. It's a conversation about one person most leaders forget themselves. Jackie Leone breaks down how transformation starts from within. Jackie, thank you so much for coming on the Go for CEO channel. How are you?
Thank you, John. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. It's my first podcast, and I just can't wait to co-create with you, have this conversation with you, and see what resurfaces.
Awesome, awesome. Well, look, I'm excited. You did something so special on social media. You commented on something that I had posted. We then took it to a DM. You answered there, and we just kind of dialogued a little bit. I read your website and was inspired by your story and some of the things and the challenges and the authenticity that you brought out just in sharing in your pure website. And you just told me something offline about my book and how it made you feel. And I felt that same way. I'm a girl dad. I'm a only child. But it resonated somewhere in there. You just are a powerful woman, and it's such a cool thing that this will be recorded so that my girls can view it at one point when they think it's cool to see my videos. So, but thank you.
Amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming out. So, look, we get started with obviously the background, kind of the journey of what you have been able to put together with Jackie Leone coaching. Let's start from there.
Okay, well, Jackie Leon coaching started not very long ago, actually. It started 2 years ago. And what happened there is I'm going to be completely honest with you. 3 years ago, we had a 30-year-old family company, International, Memory Experts International, and it went belly up. So we lost our company. As a consequence, we lost our home. And back then, my girls were 10 and 12. My ex-partner went into a deep depression, a critical depression, and he's still in it. Um, and that was an attachment, identity, a whole lot of challenges around that because it's a 30-year-old family company, family business. And so then, because that was not my first life quake in my life, I sort of knew what to do. So I
Hmm.
stepped back, looked at the challenge, looked right away, my mindset. Exercising, that's huge for me because it helps my mindset. Asking for help, my friends, elevating and looking at the bigger picture, what really matters, and just step by step trying to puzzle everything. And so we lost the company, we lost the house, went into a rental, and right away, it's number one, study, read, keep developing, grow, see. I was going back to LSC, to London School of Economics in analytics, because that's what I used to do before, sales forecasting and operations planning. And I thought, if I get into that, then I'll go back to work. I'll find a job and keep on going. Meanwhile, my ex-partner is he couldn't do anything. He was completely depressed.
Hmm.
And then one day, sitting down at our dining table, there was just this call, and it just, it keeps on ringing, and it's telling me it's not analytics. That's not it for you. And then I was thinking, what am I good at? What do I really want to do? I have two girls now. I want to do something that I love. It's my time now. I've given so much time to the family company. I loved it. I grew. I learned. But now it's time to do things from the heart. What, and I'm very big into giving back to society, into leaving something. And so I decided to become a coach. And then what type of coach? I did not want to do performance anymore. Performance, career. So I'm, what do I do best? What happened to me in my life experience is transitions, big, impactful transitions. Before the age of 12, I've moved 16 times. I've moved 7 times schools. I've moved from country to country, continent to continent. I put myself through school. Like you, I started working when I was 12. I left my country undocumented. I had 3 miscarriages. I put myself through university without any financial help. And so I'm resourceful, right? And that's what I want to give back. That's what I want to leave with people is that things happen. Shit happens all the time. That's life. But you have a choice, and you have a choice on your reaction. You have a choice, especially if you have children, because they're looking at you. They're always looking. You don't need to say anything out loud. They absorb the energy. They're looking and they're copying. So, what do I want to leave to my girls? The day that I'm no longer here, I want to leave them with a message. Things
Mm.
happen, challenges happen, is going to happen to you, whether you like it or not. People go through like 3 to 5 life quakes in their lives. I've been through like many, many, like dozens. And what I want to leave is okay, you know what? It's all right. You take time off if you need to reset, rest, dust yourself off, and then get up and get going. And if you're really, really stuck and don't know what to do, I mean, like you say in your book, small bites, the smallest, the most stupidly smallest step, right? And do that step little at a time. So for me, it's 3 things. If you're really, really stuck and you really need to get going, is one, read
Mm.
knowledge, keep expanding, put yourself in different situations. When you read, you can create. You use your other side of the brain and you can imagine yourself in someone else's shoes. You can be in an organization for 30 years and say, well, you know what? I can write that app. Or I've always wanted to open a pizzeria. And that's what reading does for you. It expands your vision. Number two, talk out loud. Speak to yourself out loud. Say it like it is in front of a mirror. Because you know what it does? One, it lowers your cortisol. You look so silly, but it doesn't matter. And two, it also rewires your neural pathways, right? Instead of spiraling down into negativity, you spiral up into positivity. And
Mm.
so it does 3 things when you speak to yourself out loud. You're speaking to yourself out loud, you're hearing yourself, and you're processing the information. And that cements the neural pathways. That really rewires your brain. And three, I think you have it in your book and you call it glimmers. I call it the little miracles in every day. Because when I was young, I met a stranger, and the stranger said to me, look for the miracle in every day. There's a miracle in every day. And John, I did that since I'm like early teens, looking for the miracle in every day. But now, like, that's like 30 years later, and I'm still doing it because now it's like automatic and I don't have to think about it anymore, but my brain is wired like that. And so 3 years ago, I had a mega life quake. And then what happens? I know what to do. I know
Mm.
what to do because I'm already programmed into getting up, be positive, ask myself right away, okay, this is gone, but what remains? What do I have now? What can I build with what I have now? And who is there? Who's around me? Who's left? Who can I call that will come to help me and get in the trenches with me because I lost a lot of friends. A lot of my
Mm.
friends, they were there because of my house, because of the parties, because of the gym, because, because I realized they're not friends really. And I have four that stayed with me and said, you know what? I'm moving out. Take my house. You don't have to look for a house where to live. Take my house right away. I
Mm.
move into their house, a rental. My parents, my brothers, coaches, self-development, LinkedIn, you. And you know what? I told myself this time around, I'm 45. I'm not doing it like before. Before I hustled. I know what it is 14-hour days, paid $3 an hour, getting up early. I know what that is. I went in high school. I went to one of the high schools, like the furthest from where I lived, because I got in with a scholarship. And so it took me, my bus came for me at 6:07. I had to be out at 5:30 all my high school years. So this time around, I'm like, you know what? After reading so many books and also my faith increased, I'm doing it wholeheartedly with a whole lot of faith and in knowing with certainty that things are going to get better. So just different approach, different approach. And I'm that approach is in my coaching. So I don't approach my coaching as tactical, technical, practical, performance, KPIs, what's your next bonus? What do you want to achieve? No, it's really identity. Because if you don't know who you are, if you don't know your core values and what you stand for, then sorry, but you just don't have a chance. You
Mm.
really need to know who you are. You need to embody that person. You need to aspire. I mean, that's natural though. For us as humans to aspire to do better and be better, that's our nature. Everyone wants that. Like you mentioned before, people in their 40s are like, yeah, I did it. I made it. I have the house, I have the spouse, I have the car, I have, the gym, and they don't aspire for more. That's not true. They do, but there's fear behind it. There's
Mm.
something. And just like you say the first step is assess. In my coaching sessions as well, is the first step is to pause, to reflect, and it's a truth bomb, is to be really truthful with yourself and say, okay, this is who I am now. This is what's happening now. Is this how I want to stay for the rest of my life? In 5 or 10 years, if I do nothing and I stay the way it is, will I be happy with that? When I'm 90 years old in my deathbed, will I be happy with that? That I didn't become the fullest expression of myself? I mean, come on. Who doesn't want that? To try. This is not a dress rehearsal. We have one life, right? Like, who
Mm.
doesn't want to become the highest version of themselves and at 90 turn around and say, wow, wow.
I love it. You've given there's so much packed into what you just said, and Go Show community. This first 5 minutes of what you just heard, I would replay and replay and replay from the heart of someone that just delivered an incredible upfront message for you. So let me take out a couple things. The first one was your second active thing that you do, which is talk from your mouth that goes in your ear, resonates in your heart and in your brain. go a little bit deeper on that side because that's one thing I've always kind of picked up, and we talked off screen a little bit about Napoleon Hill and Bob Proctor, and these gentlemen left some great tools for us, in their living out on Earth, and one of them was that is that it's how you speak to yourself in the mirror, right? So I'd love to hear a little bit about, that challenging time, you know, uh, like you said, unfortunately your partner, went this other route. You went, thankfully, in another route, and lifted yourself up. But I'm very curious because a lot of entrepreneurs are lonely, right? They're
Mm,
they're they're
yes,
in they're in the battle. They feel like by themselves. They feel like they're the only person going through this, right? And
yes.
groups and Vistage and these types of companies out there that form these groups allow them to get in community with other people that are going through something similar. But when we get back home or get back to our office or stay in the look in the mirror, it's just one on one. So I'd love to hear your feedback on that. And then, so it's about what you're speaking. How do you teach someone that and get them to really start to develop that, practice of that? And then number two, and I'll remind you of this, but you mentioned also stand for something or fall for anything in that concept of it. So, I'd love to hear that second activity that you do, which is speak from
Hmm.
your mouth into your ear, into your brain and heart.
Yeah. So the practice of speaking to yourself out loud is quite powerful because it's cementing your growth mindset. So you have two choices. Or you have a growth mindset, or you have a mindset of negativity, and it just spirals down into catastrophic thinking. Your mindset is a muscle, is a practice. It's not a destination, it's not a goal, it's a daily practice.
Mm,
And you know what? It's scary, but right now we have like everybody has earpods, right? You can just go out and pretend that you're talking to someone and you're actually talking to yourself. And most of the people talk to themselves, but it's very negative. It's the
mhm,
critic, the you're worthless. How did you do this again? You can't do it. You can't achieve it. Don't even try. Stay at home. Don't go to that convention. Don't go to that networking event. And so people listen to that. And you've been reinforcing that pattern for years. So breaking that pattern takes time. It takes compassion, it takes grace, it takes love, and it takes somebody else to believe in you.
mm,
Because when someone says, I believe in you, everything changes. Everything changes. I have my daughter, she's a gymnast and she's quite advanced. She's 13 and she did this spirally thing on the beam. And I hate watching the beam because I'm like, oh my gosh, if she misses, straight to the hospital, right?
yeah,
And so she did her twirly thing, landed, and I say, Coco, how do you do that? Like, how do you do that? How are you not afraid? And she says, Mom, my coach believes in me. That's all she said.
wow.
And I mean, this is from a young age to clients that I have that are in their mid 50s to 60s, and they just need to know that you are there to walk it with them, to believe in them, and to get in the trenches with them. It's empathy. That's all there is to it.
Mm,
For me, I work with a lot of energy, a lot of resonance, a lot of heart. But if you want the scientific proof to it, it's there too. Mel Robbins just had a podcast on that as well. She says, from now on, I every morning I speak to myself in front of the mirror coming out of the shower because it reinforces your neural pathways.
mhm,
And who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want to have a good day? Who doesn't want to start with a great day? No one wakes up and they're like, I want to have the most miserable day in the world. No.
So what part of that, right? You just talked about, hey, I love that example of Coco being on the beam, and because the coach reinforced the belief, is awesome. But like I said before, in the Go for CO world, right? Entrepreneurs, CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, can feel lonely, right? So
Hmm.
and you became a coach based off the ashes that you phoenixed back up, right, into this Jackie Leone coaching. So, was there someone or two? Was it these friends, these two or three friends that really kind of backed you? Was it the belief that someone said, "Hey, take my home because I'm moving out and you could rent it so that you're not homeless"? Um, was it those types, or was it specifically that you're looking for a direct message, or is it more of the ancillary things that someone can be grateful for, can figure out like, hey, the things
Mm.
around them. So what, just from your mindset or your perspective,
So what is the question? So the
the
question
question
is,
is, in that lonely time when you don't have someone saying, I believe in,
mhm.
you," right? Do you feel like it's possible, right? And people should hopefully take a second and say, okay, what is it that I do have? Who can I really connect to? My second chapter alignment, and I love that you said it earlier, right? You look to who was in your corner, who's tying their arms with you and going to battle with you. So that's alignment, right? So again, I guess the question is, in that sense of having someone speak it to you, can you also not necessarily have someone speak it to you, but internally look in the mirror and say, hey, I have these two or three things, I have these other things that will speak that belief in me.
Oh yes. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand your question now. Definitely. Most definitely. That's your identity. Is who you are. Is who you are without those labels. Once you don't have the title, the title of CFO or the title of manager, once you don't have the house in central London, once yeah, it's the labels. Once the labels are gone, who are you?
Mm,
Who are you? You look at yourself in the mirror, and let me tell you, it is lonely. It is lonely because all of a sudden in the morning, Monday morning, you're not going to work. You're not making your sandwich. You're not doing the commute. You're not taking the subway or the tube. You're not going into your office. And all that define you. That's what entrepreneurs think. All of that defines me. I am the business. I am the career. I am that professional title, that title on my door. And when that's gone, you feel alone, 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 alone. And you have to dig deep, John. You have to dig
mm,
deep. You have to go back and think, what happened? Who am I really at my core? What do I have here? What have I been through? You know, I know who I am. I am brave. I'm courageous. I'm the one who stands when everything around me crumbles. And it's not because of what happened, just happened in 3 years ago. It's because what happened since the day I was born.
mhm,
And that's who you remember. That's where, when you look at the mirror, that's where you go and get yourself. You pep yourself up. And you know yourself, nobody else. Not even your parents know you. You know you. And you know where you stand at that moment in time. You know your real truth. And sometimes you need a coach. You really do need a mentor or a coach to reflect things back to you because you don't remember. It's all the social constructs, the social norms. Some people have been in the corporate tunnel for 30 years, windowless, just in the corporate tunnel for 30 years. And now they've been fired and they don't know who they are. They
Mm,
don't know who they are. They're completely lost. It's like murky waters. They can't see the light. They don't know where to start. I kid you not. I have one that I asked a question about gratitude, and they had no idea what gratitude meant
mm,
because they've been in the hamster wheel and just acquiring, 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 and they just forgot about what life is all about. But yeah, it is lonely. To come back to your question, it is lonely. And it's a period of grief because change, losing your job, losing the business,
mm,
losing a loved one, the change is situational. It just happens.
mhm.
The transition is psychological. It starts with a loss and accepting where you're at and what you lost and seeing it eye to eye. And there's so many emotions that arise, and it's fearful, it's scary, but it's life. It's
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, and you mentioned gratitude. A lot of times in this world, right? I live something. It's called Naperville, Illinois. It's one of the top 10 cities or in the nation, typically. School district, all that type of stuff. And it's interesting, right? Been blessed to live in this space, but it's also, can produce this, like you said, we've got a
This
culture,
bubble.
yeah, this bubble, right? Of like, hey, our city has top rated schools. Our
Yeah.
city is a great downtown. Our city, blah, 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 right? And we have beautiful homes and da 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 and this and that. And and our my kids go to private school and and it's funny because um even though we have this, great school district, people always say, well, you live in Naperville. Why do you go to private school? And it's that for me and for my wife, we have just another level of a standard that we've wanted to share. We went to public school. I didn't have anything special or anything like that, but um, what I'm trying to grab from that is the gratitude that I share with my girls is that, hey, there was one point maybe a few years ago, they're like, hey, well, Dad, how come our house isn't as big as Joe Smith, right? Or how come we don't drive Range Rovers and blah, 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 right? Those types of things. And I started sharing with them, I go, hey, remember when we used to, because there was a point we had about 3 years that we were supporting a young kid out of Nicaragua through our church, and it was just a gift that you give monthly. And this kid would, and we've kept it, he would send us letters of like, thank you, your money helped me buy underwear and shirts and socks and stuff. And I would tell the girls, I say, hey, that kid in Nicaragua is lucky sometimes if he eats twice a day, right? Or once a
Mm,
day. He's writing us in Naperville, Illinois, because we're so special that he got a shirt and stuff. So remember that. Then
hmm
volunteering sometimes just to ground them, right? Then sharing with them, hey, and reminding with, hey, I'm pretty sure you go to a private school, you eat, you have clothes, you have a Christmas. So I teach them these grateful things to be grateful for, which transitions hopefully into also me. Like, yeah, I'm not where I want to be. And I feel like I've had a decent life, in my adulthood and producing what I've done. But I always try to go back to gratitude and just be grateful. Like, hey, I just woke up this morning and I have breath. I feel like I'm grateful because in my house I have a little bit of a vaulted ceiling here, so I feel like the space is bigger so that the energy can come in, right? So I'm grateful for that. It's like something so small, but I say to myself, I'm grateful for that, right? This morning I was in my Bible, just kind of reading, and look, I say all this, I always say it, I am a sinner. I've messed up many, many times, marriage and life and walking away from God and coming back and all that stuff. Um, but you feel that gratefulness when you could just observe a couple things in your life And then now you're like, oh, the energy's back because I center myself and I start talking to myself in that right pattern. So I appreciate that you've shared that. The second question that I said earlier was, you stand for something or fall for anything. And it sounds like to me, in that talking to yourself, in these steps that you have in how you coach people, you also encourage, and you can tell me if I'm wrong here, that you're encouraging people to stand for something,
Oh
right?
yeah.
To
Yeah.
be in their moment of being able to reflect and grow. But if you don't stand for anything, you fall for anything, right? So can you
Hmm.
expand on that and just share from your coaching philosophy and how you help people in that particular question?
Hmm. You know, John, when you ask someone to write what they stand for, everyone wants to write about it.
Hmm.
And when they come back with their document and they have written what they stand for is always powerful because what you stand for comes from your heart, not your intellect. And as a human being, everyone stands for something. So it's really just taking the time to reflect, the time for yourself, the time to have a conversation with the greater force out there, whether you're religious or not, whether you call it God or the universe or energy, or it's a moment where you connect with something greater than yourself. What do you stand for? Do you know what you stand for?
Who, me? You're asking me?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I thought that you were reflecting. Yeah, look, my stand for is really the five F's, right?
Oh,
I
yeah.
to perfect my faith in the walk, my family and the struggles that we've had, and marriage is not easy. So, you go through struggles and you go through ups and downs. But it's really that one step forward every day to find two or three different things within those faith, family, fitness, and fun and finance. And being able to reflect and then move forward on one of those things on a daily basis. I have a new tool that I've gotten into called the operator standard. And it takes these five tasks in those five F's and asks you to accomplish something on a daily basis within that. So, like this morning, admittedly, I got into my Bible. I'm in a Bible study with other men. Um, and I'm not very disciplined sometimes at that. So then today I've already won in that. So to me, if you say, what do I stand for? It's about winning the day. That's truly the antithesis of the day. So like when I go to bed, to me, if I've won the day by the things that I've been able to, accomplish and also give back and gratitude and all that stuff, especially in those five F's, faith, family, fitness, finance, and fun,
Hmm.
kind of what I stand for. So
And what sparks your joy?
what sparks my joy, I will
Yeah.
say, the other day, it was almost like an enlightening moment. And it's funny, off camera, you shared some of the things that you got from the book. So the other day, I went to a friend's house of my sixth grade daughter. They spent kind of the day together, hanging out, just hanging out. And the gentleman, we've always kind of connected. And his kids go to the same school and ever. And he sat me down that day. We are having some baklava. He's actually Pakistani, so it's interesting. They eat baklava and stuff like that, like a Greek type food and Middle Eastern really food. And we're talking, and he starts telling me that, hey, he's a doctor, um, and he's like, we're talking, we're going back and forth, and then he's sharing that, he got some insights recently that he's felt he's gone through 4 or 5 different companies in the last 3 years, where for 20 years, like you said, he was kind of in his medical, he's not a practitioner, he's more of an operator medicine. So he's like with Teladoc and some of these, fintech type medical companies. And he said to me, like, he's really started to realize the transformation he needs to have and going into his late 40s, and that he took it for granted being 40 something years old, nice house, live in Naperville, kids go to private, same scenarios. And all of a sudden, he got slapped in the face with, hey, goodbye. Here's your pink
Oh
slip
no.
type of thing. So then he had to transition, and he said he realized that he was connecting to the wrong things at times in his life.
Hmm.
He had positioned himself with certain people, and he didn't realize that he needed to position himself in alignment in chapter two, alignment to connect to certain people. So to go back to the energy, the reason I
Hmm.
say that is because in that conversation, within 35 minutes, we go to leave because my wife's like, "Hey, where are you?" on text, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I picked up my daughter, whatever." So I go to leave, and he goes to me, "Hey, thank you," and I was like,
Hmm.
"Yeah, for what?" And he's like, "I don't know what it is about you, but he's like, every time I talk to you, I feel like more inspired. I feel, um, like I could talk to you about this stuff, and I don't really talk to some of my friends about this stuff, and they're, my day-to-day friends, and I know we just know each other because we're fathers of kids and stuff like that." And he's like, "But thank you," and I can't tell you, like, I got home, I was like bouncing, right, and my wife's like, "What the hell's wrong? What's wrong with you?" And I was like. And I reflected the next day because I didn't catch it necessarily that night, but there's something about that which I love was what your business is coaching. There's something about that that I've always actually loved, and I don't do it for day to day. I'm a commercial banker, and I do this podcast and stuff like that, right? But I realize like there's so much energy in seeing others uh, you know, grow. And the feedback you gave me about the book has got me energized for today. Like that was powerful to me to hear that
Yeah, yeah.
somebody,
I just want to stop you there because you said, you know what, I'm just a podcaster and a banker and a commercial banker. And
yeah,
no, John, no, no, no. That's not who you are. Like I said before,
that's what I
through
do. Yeah,
through your book, I can feel your humanity. And that's what he felt as well. It's just your humanity, your openness. And when you have that, the energy that you transmit is just so loving and caring and positive that another human being resonates with that immediately. It's about frequency. It's about energy. We are energy. And so
yeah,
when someone feels safe and trusts you, they have no problem opening up. They know that you're not there to judge them. You're there to help them. And
yeah.
people feel that. You don't need words. Words are just words. Words without they don't have energy. It all comes from your emotion.
Mm.
And you can embody that. And without even saying a word, people can read you. I mean, I didn't even know you before this podcast, but I know through LinkedIn, through the stuff you write, through your videos, and through your book that I resonate with you for sure, 100%. Because the humanity that you're putting, the conviction and the devotion that you're putting into your book resonates.
Mm.
Everyone who reads your book, they know that you are there to help. You are there to help. They know that you've done it, that you didn't write your book because you read other books. You wrote your book because you've lived it and you know
Mm.
what it is and you want to make it better for them. You want to be the mentor for them. You don't want people to feel that, it's shitty to go through big life challenges.
Mhm.
It's not fun. And what you want to do as a human is to make it better for the next generations or for the human next door who needs help and doesn't know where to start. And that's what you're doing. So you're
Which, by the
much
way,
more.
Go Show community. She's in London. The book's in London. I love it.
The book is in Europe, people. The book is in Europe, all over Europe.
All right, you're up there. See, she went to the con.
Get get your book is going to help you.
Awesome, awesome. All right. Well, hey, no, and I accept that. I thank you. I don't ever want to not acknowledge that. It's so cool. And again, it was your comment. I think it was on the
But
news.
hold on. I have something else to say is
Okay.
that this book is a reflection of who you are. This book is pure self-awareness. Someone who writes this book is self-aware.
Mm.
And what does that mean? Self-awareness is you know what you're saying and you know what you're doing. Your words and your actions create ripple effect. Your words and your actions impact other people. I was going to say
Oh,
something else, but I lost track.
no, no, it's okay. And you can come back to it. But all right, so we've talked about, hey, number two, in the actions that you inspire people to take is speak to yourself because it goes in your ear and settles in your brain and your heart. Number the one that I challenged was more like, hey, what do you stand for and how do you teach people what they stand for or how do you help them reflect that? So moving into the business that you created, right? Obviously from a formatted, was this your partner's kind of family business that you incorporated
That
to?
was, you know what, I come from family businesses. So my dad is in Montreal, and I started, well, with my dad. I started to work with my dad. I was 14 when he started his tortilleria in Montreal. So
Oh,
that
wow.
was like from the ground up. So that was getting the machine from Mexico. And I remember my father now, his tortilleria is 30 years old also. He's doing really, really well in Montreal. He's one of the biggest distributors of Latin American products in Montreal. And
Good question. What's the name of it? What's the brand?
La Tortilla de los. And it's a little
No.
mouse, like a Speedy Gonzalez.
Oh,
De
wow. Okay.
los. Yeah, Speedy. So Speedy Tortilla, La Tortilla de los.
La,
And
oh, wow. Okay.
And so when he started, I remember that it was a struggle. And to be honest, we were a food bank family, and we started from nothing, from absolutely nothing. And I remember working 14-hour days with my dad, $3 an hour. And slowly, slowly, he started to employ other people. And I remember manufacturing 3 boxes of tortillas, and he would sell like 45 or $50 per box, and that wasn't enough. And then he had to work for Hertz cleaning cars because my dad has ADHD and he could never keep a job. And he never gave up. He never, ever, ever gave up. And he never cried in front of me. My mom says that he cried a few times with her, but I could feel the struggle. I could really feel the struggle. He had me, and then he had my two brothers. He's actually my stepdad, but I call him, I love him so much. He's my dad. And my little brothers, we have 8 years difference. So they can't remember any of that. But I do remember because I was 14. And and yeah, so that was the first family business. It's now 30 years old and doing really well, especially after COVID. And then my ex-partner's company was an international company. We did memory for printers, so for Konica Minolta, Kyocera, Canon, Hewlett Packard. And what was the question? I can't remember your
No,
question.
I hadn't known what was the company, if it was derived from your side of the family or from his. And then obviously
So
you,
for from
you
his,
became part of it.
so yeah. So I worked for their side of the family for many, many years, for 7 or 8 years. I did every department, which I loved. I love operations. So that's my thing. I love operations. Every department worked in silos. We had manufacturing in Santa Ana, California. We had engineering in Ontario. We had the headquarters in Montreal. We had offices here in London and in Hong Kong. And so I was really, really lucky to get to meet every department, suppliers in China, and travel all over the world and bring the company together. And that's what I'm good at. That's what I'm good at. I'm good at face to face, talking to people and bringing people together. And one thing that I can say for entrepreneurs and founders is that you really need to get to know your people. And the only way to do that is to get on the ground. Go and see every department, get in on the ground and talk to your people. That's the number one. Connect with your people, show them your vision, and create an environment where you belong. Because that's what it is the meaning of life. How do you bring meaning to the mundane tasks that people are doing day after day, especially manufacturing, day after day after day is the same operation, right? And so the way that you bring meaning is one is that you have control over your life, right? You have agency. Two is belonging. You want to belong to the vision of where you're working. You want to know, you want to be part of it. That's like just normal. And the third one that brings meaning is cause. You know, why are you doing this for? Who are you doing it for? What matters? So those are the three things.
I love it. I love it. So, look, so many experiences from when you were 12, 14 years old, seeing your dad, right? And obviously growing up in that environment of change, of always evolving, and then, connecting with a partner that happened to have a business that you incorporated into, and then you took your skills into that space. And then, the change of total, per se disaster and falling and all that type of stuff. And it's interesting how you were able to go this route, and the partner that you had, right, unfortunately has stayed in that side, it sounds like. But now you're in this coaching space, right? Let's talk a little bit before we end the podcast about what have you done to market yourself? Are you truly a LinkedIn savant now,
Okay.
or
No, not at all.
what are you
So
doing to build
LinkedIn,
this practice?
I had like zero social media, zero. Like a couple of years ago, I had like zero social media. I remember opening my LinkedIn account a long time ago, so that helped with the algorithm, apparently.
Hmm.
But I really started LinkedIn about a year ago, or just a bit more than a year, with like 3 followers, and one of them is my brother. Um, and so just slowly, and you know what? Like I said, I'm just doing things from the heart. I'm posting from the heart. I was really reluctant. It was really fearful. It's like I'm exposing myself. But I wanted to try something new. I wanted to try something new and have the experience and just doing it. And look, now it's great. And I just love chatting with people, having conversations. I have coffee mornings with people in like other countries, in Egypt and Italy. I've made great connections. I love connecting with people and just helping.
All right. No, no, and I appreciate that. I mean, I think it's interesting to go from obviously where you were, right, to the Phoenix that you grew up in, and the vision, and you shared it earlier, what made you get into the coaching space. Marketing, is LinkedIn the only thing you're doing? Obviously you got
No, I do a lot
great.
of networking. I get
Okay.
out of the house for sure. Because you need to balance things out, right? I can't just stay, I'm someone who doesn't like to stay home. And I find that particularly difficult to work from home.
Mhm.
So I need to get out. I love the face-to-face interaction. So whenever, and there's so many events out there. And now I have coaches doing their own retreats or their own having their own platforms or their own face-to-face
So you
activities, anything.
doing
So I
train
always, sorry.
are you training the trainers then too? Are you coaching coaches as well, or?
Yes, I coach coaches as well because
Okay.
coaches need coaches.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think I love to participate.
Mhm.
So anytime that I can participate and get involved in an activity, I'm there.
So how
My
do you
kids,
balance right now? Obviously, you got to make money, right? So just to kind of
yeah,
be raw and authentic about this, right? Someone that's watching this and has just been inspired by the last 20, 30 minutes of, hearing what you said. what part of this business um, are you do like how did you start to decipher what to charge? When was the appropriate time to convert that, genuine conversation of just networking to, hey,
Mhm.
here's my card, check out my services and if you're interested, would love to go to the next level. What was that transition like for you?
So
Because
where I started is that I took a business course. I took the course Simplify to Amplify, which is a group coaching to start your business. So I started there. And because it's a group coaching, we stayed connected. So that really helped. It already formed like a little tribe, with whom you can just interact and expand and share. Um, what has worked the most is the face-to-face interactions and just having a conversation and asking people where they're at in their lives and what they would like to change, create, or have, what they aspire to. And you find them everywhere, John.
Mhm.
I mean, I have had a client for 6 months and I met her at a baptism because it was just it started just socially as a conversation. Another one is from LinkedIn, but again, he was asking for help. I helped, and then one thing led to another. But for me, honestly, it's been very organically
Okay.
because I've had the courses, but
Yeah.
and then I've had referrals.
So people have started working with you. They obviously the word of mouth has become
The word of mouth, I give a session as well, a complimentary session. And
Mhm.
then if we have connection, if we can see that there is chemistry, that we can work together, because it takes time. It's not a one session thing.
Mhm.
It takes time for a personal transformation because it's tough, it's difficult, it's not an easy process.
Yeah.
And I would say at least 6 months. Now that, I'm in the rhythm of it, I can say, it takes a proper 6 months to have a good transformation. And
Well, 6 months of coach to transform, or are you saying 6 months to then take it from conversations to engagement?
no, 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 no. Your coaching transformation, your
Okay.
journey. Yeah, 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 yeah. No,
Okay.
to from what to engagement you said?
Well, just from natural conversation, right? Like marketing conversation,
Yeah.
putting out there,
Mm-mm.
DMing, all that stuff. Like that's one of the things
No,
that.
that can be really quickly.
Okay.
Yeah, it all depends on the person. That could be really quickly, but a lot of people out there ready, are
Yeah.
ready to have the conversations, are ready to change.
Yeah, it's interesting because my wife went through a couple years ago. Kathy Heller, I don't know if you ever heard of her. She's like part of the Joe Dispenza kind of lineage, all that type of stuff, and really great lady. She's got a really focus for the ladies in this style of coaching and all that stuff. And she talks about uh, you'll attract the people that are attracted to you, right? And that's in general.
100%.
It's funny to think of it that way because, I'm friends with people that we attracted to each other. Like you and I connected. Like there was no effort in me trying to pitch you anything. Um,
Exactly.
you attracted to me, you read the book, whatever, all that stuff. And then I just sent on DM, hey, I'd love to have you on the podcast. You were cool, open to it. And, and it's so interesting that we forget that we don't need to attract everybody. We will attract the people that are attracted, right? And
Exactly. You'll attract your people.
yeah, yeah. Well, it's just like when you're dating, I'll push it that way. Like, I wasn't attracted to certain girls, right? I was attracted to certain girls, right? So, and vice versa. I always joke, just to be totally personal. It's funny. Like, I remember dating, and this girl would be like, oh, this one girl told me one time, she's like, "You're like the male version of myself." I was like, "What?"
Ah,
And it didn't work out. It was very heated, but also like combative type of
yeah.
relationship. So it was kind of funny. But also it taught me that phrase that she told me was probably in my mid to late 20s. And all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's why I'm having issues with women because I'm in that scenario, attracting the female version of myself, and that's not going to work. Like I need to have, they say opposites attract, right? So, okay. And I always imagine myself like, all right. And when I met my wife, I was in business and financial services. I saw her on stage and I was attracted to that, right? And all that stuff. And but then when I started dating her, I realized like she's completely different than me, like um, very black and white, very like heavy-hearted and bleeding out. Like she'd like care. Like right now, there's a gentleman that's lost. He's in his late 50s, 60s or something, in a neighboring south side of Chicago, and he's lost. And she's invested in this story. And I'm not so much that person. I'm like, I'll pray for someone and be like, oh, I hope everything goes well. But I'm not going to go out of my way to go do. So it's like a different person. And my whole point to that is it's interesting in your coaching business, you'll attract people just naturally because of the energy
Yeah.
stuff. So,
Yeah. And the
um,
people that I attract are people who aspire, John, who aspire and have dreams
yeah,
and have the motivation. I'm not a motivational coach.
yeah.
So the clients that I
That's not the
have,
component you're helping, right?
no, that's not the component. I
Yeah,
am helping you achieve and break the ceilings
yeah.
and be the best that you can be.
Uh,
I mean, it's for you to fulfill your highest potential, to be the best of the best, to
yeah.
leave this place and say, yeah, I got this.
Well,
I did it.
you've actually, as we've talked, and I'll share this with you just because it's gonna now be something that I'll have to work on. I interviewed a gentleman that his whole business is helping charitable organizations set up the right way. So he's a bit of a not an attorney, but it's kind of like he sets up charitable because he said on the podcast that it's something that people mess up. They don't really set up charitable 501(c)(3)s in America the right way. Sorry, I had him on, and through this conversation, you've left me with this phrase: "Leave a gift." For some
Yes,
reason, it's in my
yes.
mind right now, and it's stirring around, going like, after I get off of this, I got to write it down in my notes because that could possibly be my charitable organization. Leave a gift, right?
Oh, amazing. That's great. Look, this is what it resurfaced.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool. So awesome. Well, hey, look, we like to end the interviews with CEO, right? So, and obviously
Okay.
we've taken this interview a little bit different than most, and I'm super grateful for that because I think there's going to be someone that will listen to this and really be transformed and hopefully engage with you as well. But C is for client experience. So if you think about this 2, 3 year business right now that you've had, that you've
Mm-hmm.
grown and you've kind of organically done, what does
Mm-hmm.
it mean as a value proposition? And it could be 30, 60 seconds of what does it mean when someone initially engages with you? And what's that client experience that you expect them to have?
The client experience that I expect them to have is profound. Is profound. Um, I don't take it lightly and I don't take it for granted, whether the sessions are free or they're paid. That is irrelevant for me. What is relevant for me is that I care about you and I want to help you. And I've always been like that. So the client experience is, I don't have words, John. You would have to experience it, really. But
No, that's
it's
fair. I
it's
mean,
at a soul level.
yeah.
It's at a soul level.
Yeah. Well, and that's why you're not necessarily having to push the rope, right? Because you can't push
Mm-hmm.
ropes. You can only pull ropes, right? And the energy is pulling people to you, and that's why you've been able to form Jackie Leone's coaching business out of the ashes of something that happened to you, which is really awesome. So E is for engagement. So engagement is, hey, are you a person that loves to do retreats? Some other coaches are doing retreats. Do you like to break bread and go do dinners and breakfast? It sounds like you like these coffee mornings. What is it? What is the way that people should expect to be able to engage with Jackie?
So one to one. But what I really want to do is a small group of people, like let's say five, six people, and do coaching program for those 5, 6 people because I think the sense of community is really important. And people, I can see people more and more, that's what they want. They want to engage with others and form friendships, really. That's what it is about because when you're in that bubble of trust and safety, that's where it ends. You form friendships. So those are for now the two that I would say.
Okay. And then operational excellence, obviously, having had kind of a corporate atmosphere, international business, there's
Oh,
a lot of things that probably were set up, but you mentioned operations being something that you really enjoy and connecting
yes.
and all that stuff. So what are you using right now as tools? Are you using Google's tech stack? Are you
So
using
you know what? Right now I honestly, nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. It's really just
Pen and paper.
notes and Zoom and really, really simple and
Okay.
email. And because it's coaching, it's just, face to face. So coming from operations, I did hire an assistant just now, a few weeks ago, because there's just too much paperwork. And it's
Hmm.
something that I really don't like doing. But I will get there. I will get there, and hopefully, our next podcast will be on operations and systems. But to everyone out there, definitely you need systems. I mean, you do need systems to make things automated, let go of the mundane, the things that you don't enjoy doing, get someone else to do them, and focus on your creativity, on what sparks your joy, on what you can grow and what you love. That's what I would say.
I don't know what it is. Sorry, I paused it. All right. So the last thing is, how do people get a hold of you? What's the best way to interact? How do they get into this funnel of being able to kind of get to the coaching opportunity to be a part of your groups or even these cohorts that you're starting to put together?
So I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram. My website is jackieleon.co, not .com.
Okay.
Um, an email as well. So really, really easy and simple.
What's the email?
jackieleoncoaching@gmail.com.
Okay. And then is there a phone number that you prefer or WhatsApp or anything like that?
Yeah, we can do WhatsApp. Yes. So email me first and then I'll send you the details.
Awesome, awesome. Well, hey, Go for SEO channel. If you're new to the channel and you just experienced this conversation, how awesome was that? Really, really awesome. I love it that it's so inspiring to me to see my book in a different continent, as Jackie said, in Europe. And if you go check out the book on Amazon, it's the 4A Formula, Untangle Any Challenge, and Think Like a CEO. And visit Jackie Leone. It's Jackie Leone coaching or jackleo.com, right?
.co.
Or .co.
jackieleon.co.
So JACKIELEON.co. All right. So go to
Correct.
her and check out everything and check her out on LinkedIn and other social media. So thank you so much, Jackie. Appreciate you being on and looking forward to let's
Thank you,
have
John.
another
Thank you for
podcast
having me.
on operations. I'm going to have to pick your brain on that because I'd love to hear some of that as well at another opportunity.
Perfect. Thank you. Anytime.